everyone. Today we're going to talk about male and female communication differences that are worth noting. The purpose is to help us become aware of these differences and understand the opposite gender a little better. Today I will cover 4 different main points: the importance of understanding communication differences, communication behaviors, and nonverbal and verbal communication, as well as reasons behind the differences. The first point, importance of understanding communication differences. Amanda Braden, who has been working in the communication field for 10 years, believes the way that male and female brains are structured and process information is different. She believes that men tend to process information analytically, while women tend to process information abstractly. That each gender has a distinctive communication pattern, and often mistakenly assumes that the opposite gender thinks and acts as they do. This is where misunderstanding arises because each side believes they are communicating clearly based on their own communicational pattern while they are not. Communication behaviors in males and females. Deborah Tannen, a linguistic professor and the author of You Just Don't Understand, believes that male communication patterns and traits tend to be honest, direct, and factful. According to her studies, the communication behaviors men tend to process are as follows: reason, logic, power, rank, status, compete, win, team, and think. Men view conversation as a means to exchange information and solve problems. They stay away from personal topics and discuss events like sports, news, and facts. They tell stories and jokes to show status and power. They are direct and blunt. They get right to work on a task and build relationships while working on the project. On the other hand, female communication patterns and traits tend to be nurturing, indirect, and respectful. The behaviors that women tend to possess are as follows: feelings, empathy, harmony, closeness, relationship, sharing, cooperation, group, and intuitive. Females use conversation to make connections. They discuss personal topics like relationships, feelings, and past experiences. They will take turns in communicating. They tend to be indirect and tactful. They will accomplish tasks by building relationships first. My third point is differences in nonverbal and verbal communications. According to Robin Wood, in nonverbal communication, men tend to use less facial expressions than women. Men avoid eye contact while women prefer it. Men's posture is more relaxed compared to a woman's. A man's bodily proximity is less than a woman's. Men touch in sexual interest while women in warmth and friendship. In verbal communication, Robin writes that men will tend to avoid personal details while women will share. Men will solve problems in their head while women tend to talk out loud to others and process information externally. My last point is the reasons behind the differences. Amanda Braden also writes that socialization is the main reason behind the difference in communication styles. That communication differences begin to develop during childhood when each gender is taught different styles and behaviors. Girls are told to use their manners, play quietly, and be ladylike. However, for boys, it is okay to be rough and play loudly. Girls are allowed to show feelings. For example, if a little girl gets hurt and starts to cry, she is nurtured. But if a boy has the same injury, he is told not to cry and tough it out. Girls play with dolls and cooperate as a group when playing together. Boys play sports and compete. Girls develop a rational style of interaction, whereas boys develop a competitive style. This variation in childhood leads to different communication styles in adulthood. Women will communicate through dialogue, discussion of emotions, choices, and problems. Males remain action-oriented. To conclude, male or female, we all have the same basic human need to be understood by others, to communicate. One trait that can greatly influence the way we communicate is our gender. We may not agree with all the different communication patterns between male and female, but we do notice some differences in our communication styles. What I want everyone to remember is that too often, men and women see the differences between each other and make one another wrong, rather than appreciate how they can benefit from those differences. Neither gender is right or better, just different. In our desire to be understood by others, we must acknowledge that differences exist among us all, specifically between males and females in how we communicate.